want you to please join me in welcoming Katherine Bergman back again.
Today we're going to do fall and holiday. The fall for Thanksgiving entertaining or entertaining between now and Christmas, and we'll do some Christmas designs as well. We're going to go do 6, and as usual I'm going to do prop heavy, so whoever gets the raffle, you get a lot to take home. I'm going to do the hard one first. The hard one is going to be a large fall arrangement. It's going to be a one-sided asymmetrical arrangement instead of the usual, all around sort of church style design. I'm going to do a crescent. So I have all this viburnum from my garden, and they're gorgeous right now. So I'm going to set the lines. This is the line on the left side, and then we're going to do one on the right for a crescent. And then I'm going to add in some fruits. I have a persimmon tree. The persimmon tree is gorgeous right now, so I cut these sprigs of it off. They're really heavy, so what we usually do is whatever's really heavy we add in first, because your foam is going to break down as you add more and more stems in. And even though these have nice sturdy woody stems, I still wire it. The wire picks are great because they're wooden and they're square, so they don't turn around in the foam, and they expand a little bit because they're a wood that's uncoated, and so it'll help hold things in your foam. So I'm going to add these in a cluster here. I wanted to kind of cascade over the front. And with these crescents, asymmetrical arrangements, we want to kind of do a sophisticated design where things are sort of grouped instead of spread out throughout the arrangement. I'll just keep turning this around because it's hard for me to do this backwards. I saw you had persimmons in the entry. Somebody brought from their tree.
Yeah. They're different though than the ones you're using. You know that, right?
Aren't they the same, the pointy kind? No?
No, those are the flat ones that you can eat hard.
Oh, I thought they were the pointy ones too. Okay. So I'll show you. I'm doing cluster here. And if you want a long cluster, it's kind of a composite, right? You don't necessarily have a cluster that looks like this, but I piece like 4 together like that. And then we have some faux grapes that I'm going to wire. I've wired, and I'm going to add them in the front here. When I use grapes, I like to use the fake ones because the real ones, first of all, they're not so perfectly clustered, and they could start falling off the branch.
Well, then your guests could eat them.
Yeah. And I always take the ugly foliage off. So I wanted this to look almost like one of those old master kind of, arrangements, and use all these beautiful fall branches. And here's some beautiful kind of golden apricot berries I found at the flower market. And some nandina from the garden. The nandina is gorgeous. Before it turns red, they turn this really pretty orangey color, which I almost like better than the red. Okay, so I'm going to add these in.
How do you know the height?
By doing this 30 years. I know. My aunt watched me do arrangements for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. She's like, how come you don't have to adjust it? Like you cut it, you put it in, you cut it, you put it in. I said, well, it's just experience.
Just push it in.
Yeah. So I am reinforcing that crescent. Okay. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use this nandina because I've got these berries, but I'll leave this here for later. I'm going to turn around so you can see it. Okay. And then I was at market and I saw these black kale. I'm like, when am I ever going to use this? Well, my design show, of course. I just thought this would be really fun in here since we're doing. This is real. It's the kale. But usually you see the green and white ones and the green with a purple center, but this is like a black kale. I thought, oh, how fun.
Developed that. That's very cool.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
So sometimes you never know what's gonna inspire you. I knew I was gonna do a large arrangement with fall foliage, and then this is what inspired me to get the black urn. And I thought we could make it look like a painting. I was an art history major at UC Berkeley. And I like all these like strong colors in these paintings, like those old oil paintings. So I'm going to try to do that. The kale's really heavy. I'm going to set it sort of in the center towards the back so we can add in other things. And I'm not going to use a lot of it because it's so big. You see, I put in the lines first, and then any heavy or large stemmed material. Everything else would be easy to add in, like roses and greenery and things like that. So I'm going to put another kale here. Okay, so we've got sort of like the bones of it already. And then I'm going to add in some greenery. So most of the greenery I'm using are just going to be the viburnum and andina that I cut short. The viburnum right now, these are the snowballs, and they're just gorgeous right now. And I love fall colors that have that green in it too, because I think green just sets off all the other colors. If I only did like browns and oranges, I think that it wouldn't look as, the other colors won't show as much. If that makes sense. So I love the greens. So it's one-sided, so we don't have to do a ton in the back, but we do need to cover our foam, right? So I just cut short pieces. We're going to add it in here and have it peek through a little bit so there's like three-dimensionality to this arrangement. Even though it's one-sided, you don't want it to look really stiff. It drives me crazy when I see at churches where they back it with palm or fern. I'm like, oh my God. Is this still 1965? Okay. My gardeners cut my snowballs this spring, right before they were supposed to bloom. I know. My viburnums, they are kind of out of control.
He was fired.
He wasn't fired, but it did like physically hurt my heart.
Did you go out and explain it to him?
Too late, right?
No,
and
no,
they only,
you got to explain it to him and say, I'm not going to get any flowers. They
I
have to
know. I
that they
love
don't
my
know.
gardener. He's awesome 90% of the time.
If you explain it, they learn.
Yeah. Okay, so I was about to have a heart attack, but you know what? 1 year's pain is next year's gain. Because my snowballs are going to be insane this year.
Double.
That's right. Because they're now growing like really straight, huge stems. This is the one he spared, and that's why it has all these little spindly growth, which is not great, but it's great at this time of year. Because my other viburnum are all straight up with huge leaves and straight stems, so it's not as interesting for using for this. This is the hard arrangement, so I'm going to get it out of the way. I was at the Chase Center last night. We went to see Queen. It was so good with Adam Lambert. He was the most amazing, the best live singer I've ever seen. Yeah.
Just think if he was back in the day when Freddy Mercury was alive.
I know. And I heard that he campaigned to play Elvis in that Baz Luhrmann production, but they had that young guy, Austin, right?
Yeah.
He's too old, I think, Adam. Yeah. And kind of too well known almost, you know?
Yeah, and I think he's just a little
Yeah.
too
It was my birthday.
deep.
Yeah. My birthday present. It was just amazing. So I'm like, oh boy, I have to
So you didn't want to come today?
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. I don't know how bright-eyed or bushy-tailed I am, but I'm here. But it was great. And we were in a suite. It was so awesome.
What a nice husband.
Yeah. Okay, so I've pretty much covered the back. And you see, there's no real rhyme or reason. But of course, I've kind of planned all this already back in the studio.
Amazing.
Okay.
That black kale.
The kale.
Isn't that
just
kale
like
awesome?
Yeah.
So it's like that dark color will set off the bright color, so you have sort of a sophisticated painterly palette instead of, sunflowers and pumpkins. We're going to do something more sophisticated. Okay, so this is the back. We're going to add in some roses. I have 3 roses today. This rose is really beautiful, a bicolor rose. These are all Ecuadorians. I don't grow any of these. This is a new rose to me. It's called Silentois, which I've never seen or heard of. It's a weird name. This is sort of an amber apricot one called Tropic Versilia. The Versilia, they have regular Versilia roses, which is kind of bridal peach with a little pink in it. And then they had pink Versilia and now this tropical Versilia. And then the red rose here is an old standby, we love this, called Freedom. It's super long lasting and it's kind of velvety, so I love this. Okay, so we're gonna add these in. And we're also gonna add these in sort of in groups. It's also about visual weight. You've got the kale, which is giant, like the size of a hydrangea. If you want your arrangement to look very sophisticated, you don't want to have like little dots of roses everywhere, because you want visual weight. This is about the same as this, right? And then I'm going to add in red. Okay, I'm going to turn this around so you can see the red. See, this is another cluster. So you have what my Ikebana teacher says, unbalanced balance. I'm going to turn around this way here so these ladies can see. Sorry.
That's better, darling.
So even though this is really close to the Silentois, I like to use like a little slight variation in it because I think that adds to that painterly quality.
Katherine, do you ever blow on the roses or peel any petals off?
I do.
Okay.
For weddings, everybody wants that, David Austin look. So yes, you pull the side petals off, and then I go like this, run my fingers inside. On YouTube, they have all these people doing reflex roses, which is just pulling these back like this to make them look like garden roses, right? And you have to keep doing it. But don't do it with like white or pale pink because it'll bruise the petals. Depends on the petals. You can feel these, like this Freedom Rose is almost leathery, so you know you're not going to bruise it. And there's some petals that are kind of papery. You just touch it a little bit, you know you're going to leave all these like marks on it, especially with white and pale pink roses. So I'm going to add some of this ambery peach color in here. Even though it's really close to the orange, it's just a little bit different, sort of a color savant anyway. Okay. One more here. And you could do something really big and spectacular like this. It's actually not hard, right? You just use larger materials.
Keep filling in the hole.
Yeah, so it's almost pretty much done, right? It's pretty much done. So I'm just gonna.
Linda, would you want to roll it around?
I'm not done 100% yet, Linda, but I will take a look to see what else we need. So I look at the grapes, and they kind of are very dark against the black. So what I sometimes do is I'll set it off with something like green. Just put something down there to draw the eye down there. The problem with the viburnums, they're so directional, it's hard to have them face the right direction. So a little bit of the foliage will set the grapes off so they don't just run into the urn. And then I see maybe a little bit of green between the kale and the orange so that you don't have that Halloween-y effect. Let me see if I have another piece of green viburnum. Maybe something like this with the burgundy edge. So I think the greens are really important in the fall arrangements. See how this kind of sets the orange off from the black? So it's, even though they're right next to each other, the green, transitions it nicely. I think we're mostly done. Let me see if we have anything showing, any foam showing in the back. We have some on the side here. And we are done.
Beautiful.
Okay. So this next arrangement is going to be a Christmas arrangement. So I never know what I'm going to do. I did a YouTube video about shopping for this show.
Oh, I watched it.
Did you watch it?
Loved it.
Okay, but of course I changed my mind. I went back like twice, but I did keep this one. I have to say the Hobby Lobby is just incredible. Right? I go there because I always like to have nice props, so whoever wins the raffle, you get something great to take home, and you could replicate what we do or change it around. So I always love this container. It's this beautiful grayish blue crackle glaze. And the shape is wonderful. You can do really sophisticated, wonderful arrangements in it. And I thought, well, let's do this. Let's do like a frosty Christmas design. And then I said, well, I love these kind of framed arrangements. So I found this, which is a faux wreath of willow. I can make one with curly willow, but it wouldn't be all perfectly round like this. So I just bought this. And I've affixed it to there's floral foam in here, a whole chunk of it. And just a lot of different things to kind of jerry-rig this in here. And I thought, wouldn't that be fun to have a reindeer in here? So we're going to try to place this reindeer in here. And then we'll do the arrangement around him. So originally I bought 2 little reindeers. And then when I started using them for the arrangement, they sank down too far. Like they're too short. So I went back and bought the big one. So we just have one here. So here's our reindeer in here. And okay, we're done. We're done. So
It's very elegant. Just
right, and I thought, well, if whoever gets this, you could do it as a silk arrangement. You know, you could do Christmas greens that last forever and just change out the roses or whatever. So I used Dusty Miller because I like that frosty blue to echo this container. Kind of unexpected for a holiday arrangement, right? But you guys don't want to see snowman, right? You want something sophisticated and awesome. And then I put a little bit of variegated potassium in here because a little bit of that green sets the other colors off. Otherwise it looks, I don't know, a little bit drab. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm going to just add in, look at these peonies. The red peonies from, I think it's from the Southern Hemisphere somewhere. We can get them starting in October, November, because they fly them in from New Zealand or Chile. So these beautiful, they cost a fortune, but they're really beautiful. So these beautiful red peonies. Okay, I'm gonna add in. Okay. So when I'm doing these sort of one-sided arrangements, I sort of do it on a diagonal. So if I add a red peony there, I want some over here, but I'm not going to do one here, one here. So we do it on a different plane, so it's sort of on a diagonal. And so you get that three-dimensionality. You know, my teacher at City College told me never do just one stem of anything, right? So we have 2. And then this new rose, well, new to me rose, called Red Panther. Red Panther, it's gorgeous. It's red with sort of like a pink stripe in it. But what I love about it is when you put in arrangements, it's luminous, right? And then this is kind of a dark red with a gray. I didn't want it to be drab, but I like the sophistication of that texture, and it's unexpected, and you know, it's Christmas. Where are they getting peonies? So we're going to add some of this beautiful red Panther Rose next to the peony. See how it brightens it up? I think this needs to be shorter.
Katherine, how long did you soak your oasis for?
You know, it doesn't take very long. I don't ever count. The main thing with Oasis is get a really big tub of water, place it in there, and walk away. Do not press it. Really important not to press your Oasis because you'll have dry spots like bubbles, you know, inside. Just let it soak in. I think 15 minutes for like a full block, or if you cut it small, then it may take less time, right? I'm going to also add in some sky blue belladonna for that little bit of frosty blue. Just a little bit. So you don't need a lot of flowers when you have a really cool prop. I always want to show this so that, you know, if you have a really nice container, a great idea, you don't need to spend a fortune on flowers and have a really whimsical, unusual design for your home. And people are going to remember this a lot more than if you did a huge display of flowers. And then everything's very versatile. When it's not Christmas time, this is a fabulous container. This whole setup, you can do beautiful spring in here as well. Or you can use the wreath on your door, your front door. Buy raffle tickets. I gotta plug the raffle tickets. Okay. Okay. And then there's all this little burgundy scabiosa, which is so pretty. I'm growing a lot of these accent flowers, usually in white, because I have a lot of roses, but I'm not doing events as much, so I'm not going to flower market every week, so I'm always trying to find things to go in the arrangements. That's, you know, not just all roses, right? And I like little flowers like this because it opens up your design so it's looser looking, not so tight. So you kind of create clusters as focal points, and then you can loosen it up with these little accent flowers. Been looking in magazines and on Pinterest. There are a lot of incredible designs down. They're all just kind of wild looking and they're asymmetrical. I love that. I'm trying to teach myself how to do that. Okay. Okay. I did buy a couple of sprigs of these frosted cones. These are faux. I thought maybe this would be cute in here. Let's see if we can add it in somewhere. Just a little bit. Don't be scared to, you know, use silks with fresh. Because sometimes, like, cherry blossoms are one that I often buy faux cherry blossoms to use in large arrangements because they're so hard to time for events and they're available such a short time of, you know, during the year, like March and April. That's about it. And the problem is, you know, you buy them at market and they're super tight and you never know if they're going to open in time for an event. So I've been using the faux often. Okay. Right, and just a little bit of it, so it's not, you know, tacky. Okay. Okay. And then we're almost done. My favorite thing are these fairy lights. Are these really? I buy them at Amazon. They're about $1 to $2 on Amazon, and they come with the batteries already. And I'm trying not to use it in, like, every single thing, but just love it. I did an 85th birthday party last weekend for my neighbor who jumped out of a plane for his 85th birthday. Oh, wow. I know. So we did flowers for his house, and we did them in the centerpieces. It's really fun. Okay. And these are submersible. Yeah, which is crazy, right? And they're so inexpensive. I mean, I think the batteries would cost more than $1.
They are.
Yeah. So.
Are you sure those are from the, you can find them at the dollar store?
Yeah, they do have them. But they only get in, you know, probably 24 of them or 36 of them, and they go really fast.
Yeah, just order them on Amazon. I bought these. I think they were $20 for 20 of them. Yeah, on Amazon. And you're going to start using them in everything. They're called fairy lights. They come in different lengths. This is a 3-foot length because it's easier to work with. They have 7-foot and longer. The longer ones, though, have a battery pack. It's not as versatile. These are wonderful. And they come in different color string. This is the copper, and they also come in like a silver.
And Hobby Lobby, found some at Hobby Lobby.
I'm sure they have them, yeah. In Hobby Lobby, you ladies all know you never pay like full price, right? Because every other week they'll have half off whatever, like silk flowers this week or bird cages next week. Yeah. Okay, so the next arrangement is, it's a twist on the, wreath arrangement. So what I have here, I wish I had one to show you, but it's basically a foam ring. It's a 10-inch foam ring with a 6-inch opening. But a wonderful thing is it has a dish in here, so you can actually put water in it. Now, these Oasis products are really, really expensive. I need to find a source in China and disrupt it, right? It's like $26 for 2 wreath rings or something crazy like that. And this is just a little dish in here as a riser. I'll show you, we're gonna put something in the center later. And this arrangement was inspired by my aging hydrangeas. I just love that blue-green color right now. I have, purple, blue hydrangeas in the front. And I wanted to show you fall. That's not sunflowers and pumpkins, although I will have pumpkins. And just a different kind of color palette. That's a little different, right? So I said, well, I like the blue-green. What are we going to do with it? And so I went shopping at our favorite craft store. Don't want to endorse them too much. And found these velvet pumpkins. Yeah, there are no picks on. They're just fabric, but I put the picks in because they're styrofoam inside. I thought these colors are so pretty. They're just exactly like the hydrangeas. So they come in a little netted bag with blue and white and pine cones. And there's an assortment of sizes. So I bought 2 different bags. And then the other ones are green and white with pine cones. I thought that's so pretty, right? And so let's do an arrangement around that. And this is a cake stand, just a white cake stand. And we're gonna put this on here. And I already greened in with hydrangea, no big skill here. We're just cutting off, little sprigs of this, like this, and putting in the foam. Kind of like the way we do kissing balls, those pomanders and things like that. And hydrangeas at this stage last really well. They're almost leathery, but they're kind of messy and dirty. So I cut them, soak them in a big tub of water for a couple hours. They hydrate really well, and you just wash all the debris off, right? And so I just did that. I did a little bit of Dusty Miller in here because it's that same color but with different texture. And it also kind of marks 3 kind of clustered focal points. And I said, well, what color can I use with this? I could do white, but then it's not fall. And look at these beautiful, this beautiful Japanese maple for my garden. I thought this golden apricot-y color with this is so unexpected, but it will make it pop. It won't be drab looking. And so that's how this all came together. So we're going to add in some roses. This is a beautiful rose called Cavendish. And it's sort of a golden apricot. So different from peach, right? And then I'm not a big carnation person, but look at this beautiful golden carnation. And carnations are wonderful with wreath arrangements because they've got kind of a large floret with a low profile. And they last really well. And they have nice sturdy stems. So all these things you have to consider. It would be really hard to do this with really floppy stem, like tulips or something. And then there's an off-white, almost yellow flower. And this is a garden spray rose. Look at this. This is one sprig. And this is called Candlelight. And I thought all these colors together would be really, really unexpected for fall, but really beautiful, sophisticated, and just different. Okay. So I put these little pumpkins in different sizes onto picks, these wooden picks. They're fabric, so what you do is you just poke a hole in the velvet, and then it's styrofoam inside. So you could just impale it. And these are just the wire picks. I just cut the wire off because you don't need the wire. Okay. So I think I'm going to add the pumpkins first. We're going to add the pumpkins in the clusters where we don't have the Dusty Miller. Often when you're doing a wreath, you want to segment it. You don't want to do 4, right? So 3 is a good cluster. So this is where we're going to add the flowers. So next, in between this is where we're going to add the pumpkins. So I'm going to do 3 pumpkins, a large green with a small blue, and maybe a small white. Like that. Then I'm going to do a large blue with a small green and a small white. See, it's like almost done. You don't even have to do much more, right? But of course, it's a show. I got to do a lot more.
You must have to sharpen your shears because you're cutting wire and wood and plants.
Yeah, okay, these are, people ask me on YouTube what I use. These are the Falco number 6. These are the best ever. I've spent a fortune on clippers. There's another one my mother-in-law bought me years ago, a French brand that's really good. But these are the best that I've found. They're Falco pruners, Falco number 6.
Is it Falco or the?
Felco. Falco, is it a Swiss company?
Yeah.
Yeah, That's wonderful. Now, I know professional florists were supposed to use the knife. I never got the hang of it. I was taught to use the knife in floral design school, but I don't like to use it. Okay, so we're going to add in the roses. Don't need a lot because we're almost done, right? But we need a little color. This is really big. Do we have a smaller one? So I'm going to add the roses kind of where the Dusty Miller is because I kind of created a little bed for it. The challenge whenever you're using these foam shapes is to cover that exposed foam without it being super bulky. Okay, let's do a little white here. That's why hydrangeas are great.
They're beautiful color. Like you couldn't
Well, yeah, you never
make
know.
them to be that way, you know.
Right, it's just that time of year with the blue hydrangeas turn that funky color.
And I love the greenish with the gray. Look at that one.
This is a lot like doing wedding cakes design. Okay. So basically, it just every little area, you just want a pop of that really pretty orangey color. Not orangey, but like golden apricot, let's call it.
Do you reuse your forms?
No, you can't, unfortunately. I wish. Because once you soak the floral foam, you can't reuse it. You can keep it wet and use it later, but you can't reuse it.
Mine has too many holes in it. From pulling them out.
I know how that is.
It's so frustrating because then you want it to sit right and it falls over because it's got too big of a hole.
See, the roses opened up so much quicker than I thought. These were tightly clustered, and I opened the cardboard sleeve and it just exploded. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was at a flower market last week. I had to renew my badge because, every year at the end of the year we renew our badge. They're still moving. They're saying they're going to move in May to the. It's still in San Francisco on 16th Street.
Yeah.
But this project where they sold the flower market years ago, and it's been this long process where they're trying. It's a historical property because the flower market's been there for like 100 years. There's all these people trying to keep it from being developed. And I feel sorry for whoever bought it because they bought it when real estate in San Francisco, at least commercial real estate, was really hot. And now they're going to develop commercial real estate in San Francisco.
Have you ever gone down to the LA flower market?
I have not. It's the largest in the country, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, but we're lucky to have a growers market here. Most places, like even large cities like Houston, and Dallas, they have to go to a wholesale just like a house, where they have everything, but not really, right? Not like what we have. I'm gonna add in some of this beautiful maple, because this is mostly done, but it's kind of roundy-moundy, not that interesting, right? So we're gonna add some texture, just some fall. And this is from my garden, and it's so beautiful. Like if you look closely at each sprig, it's so amazing. There's apricot, gold, and I love that it has still a little bit of that green. See how that makes a big difference? So I think Darlene was saying I'm growing tulips. My first year growing tulips. I just bought the Costco ones. I don't know. They're not pre-chilled, so I have them in a garage fridge. I put them in September. I think I'm going to plant them in containers. Does anyone have good experience growing tulips around here? They can share their experience?
If you put them in your garden, they need to be dry, but eventually they die off anyway because we're just too warm.
I know.
But they do come back for about 4 or 5 years, and then they just start declining.
Oh, they do? They will naturalize?
But they have to be dry in the summer. That's the key, is they have to be dry in the summer.
You don't want the squirrels to get to them.
And
That's what my neighbor told me, that the squirrels get to them. And I'm trying to think,
gophers.
look at that. When should I plant them? I think I might just do container this year. Because I think I want like this big show of it, and 200 sounds like a lot, but like if spread out in the garden, like where, right? And I'm also afraid.
Are you hoping that they'll bloom at the regular time, or are you trying to force them?
I'm not forcing them. I bought them in September. I have them in the fridge now. I bought 3 different blooming times. They have the early blooming, late blooming, and
Right. Really late blooming.
Yeah, really late. So I have no experience. I saw on YouTube, I can't believe this, you can make a tulip lasagna. You're supposed to plant them in 3 different heights, and they're supposed to come up through the bulbs and then bloom like for a long time. So I don't know.
You can do that with various different bulbs
Really?
as well.
Yeah,
They multiply too. They multiply too.
really? Okay.
Well, it depends on the tulip, but ultimately.
I don't have a lot of bulbs. I just have muscari, which naturalizes, right?
Make sure
Paper
you're
whites are very easy to grow here.
Oh yeah, we have like daffodils and yeah,
Mine
they
are already
naturalize.
blooming, and
It's
they
like-
bloom through February.
And when you drive on 24, like in Lafayette, they're like all over the hills,
Right.
the daffodils.
But paper whites are the ones that they sell like amaryllis, and the paper whites, as I said, I planted them, they're reseeding in my garden
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah.
I love paper whites. I like the smell. My husband hates it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost done. We've kind of put the little. So I'm going to put a little bit of the cones in, just a little bit. I think that little bit of brown actually adds a lot to it. It's a cute little texture. And cones don't have to be only for Christmas. I think at this time of year they work with the pumpkins. And these cones I just wired with a pig. They're kind of lopsided, but that's okay. You could put it in the right way and they'll be good. Okay. All right. So this is why we made the wreath. Okay, so I love bird things. Like bird cages, birds, I just love them. I saw this at Hobby Lobby. I'm like, okay, we have to do a design around this, right? That's why I have this little bowl here. Unfortunately, this wreath ring is just too small for it to go inside of it, too big for it to go perfectly outside of it. So this is 6 inch, this is 6 inch. So it's like perfect. I could kind of balance it on there, but I could go lopsided. So I just put a little riser in there. I was thinking, what can I use? A tuna can? Whoever gets this as a raffle prize will get a surprise. But I found a ceramic bowl that works. So it's just a little riser for this. And then when I'm done, wasn't just gonna make a round wreath for you guys, you know that. And we're gonna put the branches here. So it's a little bit more interesting. I have a few short ones here.
You just keep changing it and changing it and changing it, and it's beautiful.
And that is our arrangement.